ಸ್ಟೇಜ್ ವೈಬ್ರೇಟ್ ಆದಮೇಲೆ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಝೆನ್ ಮೋಡ್ಗೆ ಶಿಫ್ಟ್ ಆಗೋಣವಾ?
ನೀನು ಹೇಳ್ತಿದ್ಯಾ ಝೆನ್ ಮೋಡ? ಅದು ಹೆಂಗೆ?
ಹೌದು, ನಮಗೆಲ್ಲ ಕ್ರಿಯಾ ಯೋಗದ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ತಿಳಿಸ್ಕೊಡೋಕ್ಕೆ ಲೆಟ್ಸ್ ವೆಲ್ಕಮ್ ಸುದೀಪ್ ಭಾರತಿ ಆನ್ ಸ್ಟೇಜ್. After growing up in India and finishing his engineering, Sudeep began his journey with Microsoft in Redmond in 1988. He retired from Microsoft in 2015 after working at various senior positions. He and his wife Seema were introduced to Kriya Yoga by current spiritual head Sri Guruji Paramahamsa Pragnanandaji in 2007, and he has been practicing this sacred path sincerely since then. Sri Guruji authorized him to be a Yogacharya in 2021, and he has been initiating seekers into this path since 2022. Welcome Sudeep Bharati.
Please give him a round of applause.
Let's start this talk with a quick prayer first. Please close your eyes if you can. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karvavahai Tejasvi Navadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Welcome, and first of all, best wishes and congratulations for your foundation program. It was really good to see all the performances and the talk by the Council General as well as by Dr. Raghunandan. Just to set a context, I am here because Manju Baba and we both follow the meditation path called Kriya Yoga, and he asked me to give you a little bit of flavor of what Kriya Yoga is and what do we do and what the benefits are. This is Kriya Yoga International is the organization that I belong to, and our motto is meditation and be realized. This is a worldwide organization headquartered in India in Balighai, which is near Puri, and we have centers and ashrams all over the world. And one of the ashram is here in Seattle. Many of you may not know. It's called Temple of Meditation. It's in Monroe, Washington, not very far from here, about 25 minutes drive from here. And there are two resident monks there. There are two resident monks there who live there, and there are two teachers, me and Amit Chatterjee Baba. We together teach and initiate people into this sacred path of Kriya Yoga. So let me talk a little bit about Kriya Yoga. Before we do any discussion, it is really important to know what is the goal. Why are we having this discussion? What am I here today? So knowing your goal already, makes the journey much more easier when we know what the goal is. So let me spend 1 minute talking about the goals. Next slide, please. So in our scriptures, Vedic philosophy, in Chandogya Upanishad in particular, 4 purusharths are clearly talked about: Dharma, Arth, Kam and Moksha. Dharma is to be living a virtuous life, be moral, ethical conduct. Artha is all about having a financial security, earning money honestly. Kama is genuine pleasure, desires and sensual gratifications. And the final one is Moksha, which is liberation, or as per the Vedic philosophy, the highest goal of a human birth. You might have heard about moksha in many other ways: to know divinity, self-realization, God realization, to be liberated, to realize truth, become perfect human being, samadhi, etc. All these are different names, but pointing to the very same concept of becoming one with God. So the highest goal of human life is to experience divinity, becoming one with that God. The spiritual journey for every seeker, our Guru says, it starts with the question. When you start feeling like you want to know who I am, who I really am, then your spiritual journey is starting. And they say that spiritual journey concludes with the realization, our own realization, individually for each one of us, which ultimately gives you the feeling that I am Brahman, I am God, I am divinity, Aham Brahmasmi. And that is the whole journey we are in. And that's what Kriya Yoga also teaches, and we will talk about that. Next slide, please. Assuming that is the goal, to know who I am, let's now talk about a little bit more of this in detail. So if we look at our scriptures from the East, from India, the basic, simplest way it has bheen explained is that the formless divinity, formless Brahman, wanted to be many. Ek Devo Sarvabhuteshu Guda. That one formless divinity created this whole universe and entered into each and every living being. In a sense, if you really think about it, our scripture says there is no I, there is no Sudeep, there is no Manju Baba. These are all worldly identifications. Really, there is only God. Everything is God. One universal God. So then how does this whole universe works? If everybody is one, we should all be behaving and acting and doing everything like a God does. And to make this a really interesting drama, Maya is created by God, which is also a power of divinity. And its job is to delude us. Its job is to make us feel like, no, we are not that one single God. We are, I am Sudeep, I am a man, I am of this origin, my citizenship is this, I do this work. All these tags are attached to me by this Maya to delude me into thinking I am something different than what my real identity is. And after many births, our scripture says a person takes 88 lakh births from separating out from the divinity and finally merging back into divinity. 88 lakh births in different forms, insects, grass, animals, and finally this human birth. And to help in this making one thing look like many, our mind, our memory, our intellect, our ego, our senses all play an important role to keep us in this world, always making us feel like I am different from divinity, I am for this world. And because of this, we start to live a life of duality. Duality in the sense, sometimes I am happy, sometimes I am unhappy. Sometimes I am sad, sometimes I am angry. All those kinds of dual behavior come to our being. While if you really ask the true nature of that divinity of which we are part, that nature is just one of bliss, endless joy. Never being down or sad or unhappy. It is always in its bliss. But because of this Maya, because of this identity crisis, if you may call it, we have forgotten that. Our true identity, that we are divine. We have forgotten that. and we now think I am this tiny human being, my scope is only this much, and we are not able to make progress from there on. The goal of the life, our Vedic literature says, is really to go back and realize that I really am that God from which I started. So if you say that was the goal, and this is the detail that we have descended and we have to go back and become one with God, how do we become divine again? What is the tool? What is the methodology? What can we do? This is one goal. We want to become one with God. But there are so many different paths. All the paths are true. We respect all the paths, all the sages and saints of all times who have come down to show us this path. They have all talked about the real path, but we human beings with our identity issue, we have always tried to differentiate. All these paths leads to God. There is no difference. Some faster, some are meant for some person, some are meant for some other person. But they all ultimately achieve the goal. The path that I am talking to you here today, Kriya Yoga, is one such path, which can take you from feeling like I am this small human being to knowing that I am all-pervading, all-encompassing, all-powerful God. This path has been taught by Lord Krishna in Gita and by Patanjali in Yoga Sutra. And our gurus have written detailed explanation of what they are saying and how that thing really helps us grow. So I am here with this context and the goal, I am here to talk about Kriya Yoga. Next slide. Before I go into Kriya Yoga, I want to talk to you or introduce to you our lineage. The lineage that has brought this Kriya Yoga to us. Remember, Kriya Yoga was always there in the time of Lord Krishna or even before that. But the time always goes in ups and downs in the yugas. Sometimes the divinity aspect of divinity is high, sometimes we forget completely divinity and we are in the world. But Kriya Yoga has always been there. It was introduced to the modern time by Mahavatar Babaji, who is a mystical, mysterious person. He's still alive, 400-year-old, somewhere in Himalayas. Some people call him the incarnation of Lord Shiva. Mahavatar Babaji introduced this path of meditation and trying to go back to God and grow to Lahiri Mahashaya, the second person, in 1862, in British India time, when he used to work for British Railways, Lahiri Mahashaya. He brought him to the Ranikhet area in Uttarakhand present day and taught him this technique and asked him to go spread it all over the world, to give it to every seeker who wants to grow and become one with God. Lahiri Mahashaya from Banaras had many different disciples, many advanced disciples. One of them was Swami Shri Yukteswar Ji of Sri Rampur near Kolkata. He was a householder, so was Lahiri Mahashaya. If you look at it, Mahavatar Babaji didn't choose a monk to come and teach us how to meditate and become one with God. He chose a householder, people who had families, wife, kids, jobs, all the daily life issues that we all have, to show us that we all can do these practices also and grow. Another of Lahiri Mahashaya's disciple is Bhupendranath Sanyal Mahashaya, also of West Bengal. He was a principal in Rabindranath Tagore's school. Then Paramahamsa Yogananda Ji, whom you might have heard about it. He came to West, USA in 1920, and he is the author of the famous book, Autobiography of a Yogi, which I hope many of you have read. Can you raise your hand if you have read the book Autobiography of a Yogi? Some of you have. If you have not, please do read it. He was a disciple of Swami Shri Yukteswar, and he was in his early 20s, came to United States in 1920 and started teaching yoga philosophy here in US. Swami Satyananda, another disciple of Swami Shri Yukteswar, was a childhood friend of Yogananda Ji. While Yogananda Ji came to the West to spread the word of yoga, Satyananda Ji stayed in India and continued to spread Kriya Yoga practice. Then you have Paramahamsa Hariyananda Ji, who was initiated by Swami Shri Yukteswar Ji, as well as Bhupendranath Sanyal Mahashaya, Paramahamsa Yogananda Ji, Swami Satyananda Ji. He took different Kriya initiation from these masters and he considers all of them his guru. He is our organization, the Kriya Yoga International, was set up by him. And in Florida, Homestead is the big ashram where from this is managed. And he left his body in 2002. But before leaving, he anointed Paramahamsa Pragyanananda ji, our current spiritual head, who teaches and spreads the word of Kriya Yoga all over the world. He has written more than 200 books. You can find all of those details on our website called kriya.org. This is the book I have told you, Autobiography of a Yogi. I would highly recommend you read it. It's a beautiful book and it's available on kriya.org site. You can order it from there. So what is Kriya Yoga? Kriya Yoga is made of two words, Kriya and Yoga. Kriya itself is a compound word, Sanskrit word, which is Kri plus Ya. Kri is any action we do. Karm and Kam and all these things have been derived from that same root Sanskrit word Kri. And Ya is the power of divinity. One of the meaning of Ya is power of divinity. So what does Kriya Yoga mean? Yoga of constantly experiencing divinity in every action. We are cooking, or we are doing a job, or we are studying, or I am talking to you, or in every breath we are conscious of divinity. That is the meaning of Kriya Yoga, and that is what it brings into us as we practice the techniques that have been taught by these gurus. If you go to Patanjali Yoga Sutra, which is the primer, Yoga philosophy's primer, everybody will ultimately refer to it if you want to understand yoga philosophy. And in there, this yoga, Kriya Yoga, is mentioned by name. Tapaha, Swadhyaya, Ishwar Pranidhanani, Kriya Yoga. Meditation, self-study, surrender to God, together is Kriya Yoga. Now, this is Patanjali's Yoga Sutra is older than Vyasa Mahadev and Mahabharata, because Vyasadeva himself has written a commentary on Patanjali's Yoga Sutra. So it's more than 5,000 years old. And the only yoga it mentioned there in the book of Primer of Yoga is Kriya Yoga. And then in the very next verse it says Samadhi Bhavanarth Kalesh Tanu Karanarthashcha. We practice Kriya Yoga to remove obstacles from attaining Samadhi. Remember, the highest goal was moksha or Samadhi. So we practice Kriya Yoga to achieve that goal. This is what Patanjali's Yoga Sutra teaches us. In Gita, Kriya Yoga is also mentioned, and it says it has been practiced since time immemorial by the kings, and they were teaching it to their subjects. And everybody was practicing it in Satyuga time. Of course, with the time, it declined, and some sages took it with them to the mountain caves and stayed there. And when the time became perfect, they came out, and in 1862, it was reintroduced through Lahari Mahasheji. This Kriya Yoga that I am talking about is a non-sectarian. You could be following any religion, any other path, it does not matter, we welcome everybody. It is no dietary restriction. Your food is your food. Whatever you eat is fine. You can start practicing this thing. And it is available for everybody who is above the age of 30, irrespective of the gender. This whole Kriya Yoga is based on the science of yoga. Pranayam, that you might have heard about, is the key component of how to regulate our breath. And it is based on the science of that breath. By following this thing, you get physical, mental, intellectual, and spiritual benefits all together. I was initiated in 2007, so I have been practicing this for now 18 years. And I can tell you from my own experience, this is one of the most beautiful things we can do to really gain control over our health, physical health, our mental capacity, and how we really live in this life, in this world, how we interact with people. It gives us a spiritual upliftment to know who am I, how do I go about knowing that. So this is in a very brief introduction to Kriya Yoga. What I wanted to do now, instead of talking about this, I wanted to give you a very short experience of what Kriya Yoga is. This is not what we practice because that is something we teach you only when you get initiated or Diksha. But this is a very simple version which will give you an idea of how Kriya Yoga works and what is this science of breath is. Are you all ready to try it out for 5 minutes? Okay, let's do it. Please sit straight. It's important to keep your spine straight. Wherever you're sitting on the chair is fine. Just keep your spine as straight as you can. Close your eyes. And now, watch your breath. As you inhale, feel I am inhaling. When you exhale, feel that you are exhaling. Inhale, exhale. But consciously, I am inhaling, I am exhaling. I am alive because of this breath. No breath, no life. Feel that breath is my connection to the God. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Always remain aware of your breath. Inhale, exhale. Oh God, I thank you for giving me this breath. Because of this breath, I am alive and I am able to think of you. Inhale, exhale. Just by watching your breath will get regulated. When your breath is regulated, your mind is regulated. Breath and mind are causally connected. And when your mind is regulated, you will have less thoughts. Then one day you will reach a state where you will have only one thought. And if you keep practicing for a long time, you can also reach a state when there is no thought, thoughtless state. Now take a slow, long, deep inhalation. Hold the breath and bow down. Bow in the front as much as you can wherever you are. Just bow down. Bring your head down. Bowing is a great thing to humility. And then exhale. While remaining bowing position, keep inhaling still and still aware of your breath. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Now once again take a slow, long, deep inhalation. Holding the breath, again sit back. Bring your head back and exhale. Once again, keeping an eye on your breath. As you inhale, think peace. As you exhale, think joy. Inhale, peace. Exhale, joy. Inhale, peace. This is the simplest form of pranayam to control your breath. Do you feel some calmness just by this very short breath regulation exercise? And that's your real essence, your real identity, peace, joy, bliss. I thank you all for joining in me for this small meditation. Let's end with a prayer. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah, Sarve Santu Niramayah, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kaschit Dukh Bhag Bhave. May all be happy, healthy and auspicious. May there be no sorrow or discord anywhere. I bow to you all. Jai Guru.
Thank you for an insightful session, Sudeep Bharati ji. Now I request Manjunath Kondali to present a token of appreciation to Sudeep ji. Please give him a round of applause. Thank you.